Welcome to Oshkosh, Wisconsin, the home of sport aviation. We're at Whitman Regional Airport for the Experimental Aircraft Association's 43rd annual Fly-In Convention. Thousands of people fly into Oshkosh every year, thousands more drive in. A few just drop right out of the sky. During the next hour, we'll visit some of the Oshkosh crowd and take a close look at the planes they fly. You'll see world-famous air show performers, the greatest racing planes of the 1930s, famous personalities from Space Shuttle Commander Hoot Gibson to race car driver and pilot Rusty Wallace, and more warbirds in the sky at one time than you'll ever see again. All this and more at EAA Oshkosh 95. So make sure your seatbelt is fastened, your seat back and tray tables are in their upright and locked position because we're about to take off. Welcome to Oshkosh Air Show 95. Oshkosh is a city of 55,000, located 80 miles north of Milwaukee on the west shore of Lake Winnebago. For 1 week each year, the sky above the city comes alive with every conceivable type of aircraft, and the population of Oshkosh swells to 12 times its size. 850,000 people pass through the convention gates during the week. More than 2,700 show planes parked on concrete and grass ramps covering 1,400 acres of convention grounds. They come singly and in packs, flying in from just around the bend or all the way around the world. More than 70 countries are represented at the convention. This Qantas 747 with the crazy quilt paint scheme came all the way from the land down under. The colorful design is based on the art of Australia's native Aborigines. It's appropriate that the image of the kangaroo is prominent, since in Aborigine mythology, kangaroos gain the ability to fly at night. A total of 397 Australians made the trip. 396 flew in the 747. One came the hard way. John Johansson arrived a few minutes after the jetliner in a home-built RV-4. The airplane took 2 years to build and includes modified fuel tanks to enable him to achieve a lifelong dream. John intends to become the first Australian to fly a home-built around the world. He was reunited at Oshkosh with family who traveled aboard the 747.
Oh man, wouldn't I kill to be able to do this in my airplane.
John arrived by way of Fiji, Pango Pango, Christmas Island, and Hawaii. After a week break here, he travels across Europe and Asia to his hometown of Adelaide. Here is an awfully impressive sight. Bonanza after bonanza after bonanza flying into Oshkosh, 130 plus of them, all coming together in formation from Rockford, Illinois. This is an airplane that's been called the Mercedes of the air, and obviously the folks flying these really love them. It just keeps on coming. Bonanza after bonanza after bonanza. The man behind Bonanzas to Oshkosh is Wayne Collins out of Mineola, Texas. And Wayne, you started 6 years ago with 9 airplanes, more than 130. This is phenomenal. How did you do it?
Well, we started off with 9. People liked it. We had 20, we had 40. People read about it, and it just grows. People do what they like.
So what is it about this airplane, Wayne?
It's the greatest airplane there is, but it does everything you want it to do.
I've heard it called the Mercedes of the air. You go along with that?
Well, I don't compare it to automobiles. I think it's all by itself.
Nobody arrives at Oshkosh like these airplanes as fast as possible. The reason? The pilots participating in the great cross-country flying race know there's $10,000 prize money on the line. The starting point is 700 miles to the west in Colorado. Pilots must respect all restricted airspace on their way to Oshkosh. It's the 4th year the event has been held and the 2nd consecutive year that Jeffco Airport, just outside Denver, has been the takeoff point. Pilots compete in 5 classes. The 39 participants spent the Sunday before the convention getting ready to fly the next day. Here's one of the guys getting ready for the big race, Jim Huff. Jim, what's the story here? Is the secret to put furniture polish on your airplane?
Got to be lemon pledge. Only lemon works.
It gives aircraft manufacturers a chance to show off their airplanes, and also members of general aviation to see what they can do in a cross-country air race.
It's just a kind of a camaraderie among people with aviation interests. I've been interested in aviation all my life, and it's just something I like to do.
Where's number 4? Right there. Good luck to you. Thanks a lot.
Here's Don Getz, last year's champion, the chief pilot for Lance Air, back to defend your title, Don.
Yeah, I'm going to give it another try and hopefully come out victorious again, but we don't know until we get to the other end, and I'll see when I get down there, and hopefully we'll make it good again.
What's your strategy? Is it complicated at all, Don?
No, it's get out and get up high. The plane is fairly fast at 25,000 feet. Will be a direct line to Oshkosh. The other end might be some bad weather. We're looking at that now. And if it is, we have to be IFR. When our wheels touch the ground is when our time will stop at that time.
The weather may have been less than perfect back in Oshkosh, but in Colorado, the pilots had excellent conditions for the Monday morning departure. I hitched a ride with the Pace Jet, flown by the intrepid John and Martha King, our good friends from EAA's ESPN2 series, Ultimate Flights. We'll be getting an en route update from the Kings, then rush ahead to Oshkosh for the results of the race later in the program. Also coming up, a look at some antique air racers, the greatest air show acts in the world, and a word with Captain Scott O'Grady, who was shot down over Bosnia and lived to talk about it. The reason behind the existence of EAA, the Experimental and Experimental Aircraft Association, are these: home-built aircraft. EAA was founded almost a half-century ago as a gathering place for do-it-yourselfers, a common ground for men and women who not only fly airplanes, but build their own, too. One home builder who's gone on to become a design legend is Burt Rutan, whose Voyager flew round the world in 1986 and whose Very Easy design is celebrating its 20th birthday this year. The description composite canard pusher says it all today, but in 1975, the Very Easy was a combination of 3 unorthodox construction features. All 3 would become Rutan trademarks. The pusher configuration with the prop in the rear may seem strange, but it's been used on designs as far back as the Wright Flyer. The canard, the smaller, stubby front wing, had also seen limited use. The canard promotes lift, saves weight, and furnishes stall and spin resistance. But the major development was in composite construction for light aircraft. Glass fiber over a foam core. The result is a strong but lightweight design. Rutan kept the process simple, within the reach of the skills and wallets of most amateur builders. The payoff was a revolution in home building that has carried Rutan through dozens of successful designs and earned him the admiration of the home building community.
Well, I think the Very Easy introduction was did represent at least kind of a turning point. A lot of the airplanes before that were so hard to build that they were built in only small numbers. And after we introduced the Easy and started selling plans now, I guess, 19 years ago. So I think the fact that they were something that someone without a lot of aircraft skills could go ahead and complete and fly successfully was the main reason that there's so many of them.
Of course, Burt Rutan isn't the only home builder at the convention. The backbone of EAA is the thousands of builders who quietly transform the dreams of designers into tangible flying machines. The principal objective of Oshkosh is the free exchange of ideas. There are hundreds of forums and workshops held during the week. And then there are the more informal, intimate, one-on-one encounters of people from all over the world. Builders and restorers who have a story to tell and an airplane to show off.
Well, right now we have the world's fastest amphibian. It's a full 4-place airplane that goes about 55 miles an hour faster than the only other manufactured 4-place amphibian.
This airplane that you're looking at is a plane that we call the Sherpa. It's a brand new airplane that was designed to be a fun airplane to fly, generally speaking for sport people going in and out of backcountry where no one else could go.
It's a 2/3 scale fiberglass T-33 replica.
You call it a YT-33.
That's just a gimmick for your T-33.
So many planes and so many people to see, and not always personalities you'd expect at an air show. The appeal of aviation cuts across all boundaries. You never know who you'll meet.
It's really neat to come up here to Oshkosh with the warbirds and fly airplanes like this we did in World War II. It just gives you a real feeling because the pilots that I'm flying with, Bud Anderson, Pete Peterson, Tommy Hayes, and guys like that, we were all combat pilots in 43 and 44 flying against the Germans. It was neat.
NASCAR champion driver Rusty Wallace here at EAA in the searing heat. Rusty, what brings you here?
Well, I really love aviation. I've got 4 airplanes myself. I had 2 days off, 2 days out of the whole month, and I just found out that Oshkosh was going on, and I jumped in the King Air and flew up here. And I'm just having a wonderful time. I got to look at the air show last night, got to watch the P-51s, which I'm really excited about. Met a lot of friends that were up here that I didn't know were coming up here. Just got out of the B-17 a little while ago, had a great time in it. But I've had a great 2 days up here, and it's been a lot of fun.
When you watch an aerobatic performance, Bill, as good as you are in your field, one of the top golfers in the whole world, do you have a special feeling for somebody like a Patty Wagstaff or Sean Tucker or the Eagles out there, as good as they are at what they do?
I wish I could do it. I really do. I think that I'm not quite cut out for that, but I guess it's the same way as, you know, you look at a race car driver, or some people look at golfers saying, boy, I wish I could do that. Well, I'm here like a kid in a candy store going, man, I wish I can do that. So it's been quite a joy for me to come here.
It's not every day you get to talk to somebody like we're about to talk with now, a guy who was shot down in his F-16, managed to survive for 6 days. Of course, we're talking about Captain Scott O'Grady. Great to have you here, Scott.
Oh, it's nice to be here. Thank you.
When you meet some of the guys who flew those warbirds, the Chuck Yeagers, the Bud Andersons,
yeah.
What's your thought?
Oh, that's what makes this whole air show. If it was just the airplanes, you could walk around and see the airplanes in just you know, a day or two, and that would be it. But that's not what makes this air show so phenomenal. It's all the different individuals you get to meet. You know, you're talking to somebody and you find out that it just so happens that they're from, their last name is Lear, as in Learjet.
Just so happens.
And you're just like,
yeah.
wow.
That happens here.
Yeah, it's just unbelievable. Or, you know, all the different people you're going to meet.
EAA's most important resource is its members, and it's a two-way street because members give back to EAA in the form of volunteer time. More than 5,000 volunteers are the true organizers of the convention. Each year, time is set aside to recognize EAA's diverse membership. Compass Hill was created to celebrate the values of family and aviation, which EAA has embodied throughout its history. At the bottom of Compass Hill is the Memorial Wall, a quiet place to remember loved ones who have passed away. Individual members are also selected for recognition. In memory of aviation pioneer Steve Whitman and his many contributions, ground was broken for the new Whitman Hangar at Pioneer Airport. The Freedom of Flight Award is EAA's highest honor, and this year it was bestowed on Chuck Yeager, a longtime supporter and the honorary chairman of EAA's Young Eagles program. Finally, the convention is also a perfect opportunity for members to meet government aviation representatives from Washington. Whether you visit for a day or camp at EAA's Camp Scholler for the entire week, you're sure to meet plenty of people who share your specific aviation interest. There's one time each day that everyone stops and pays close attention to what's going on in the sky. It's the middle of the afternoon, time for the Daily Air Show. Sean D. Tucker incorporates traditional and original maneuvers in a routine he calls Sky Dance. This is the final year of an incredible 25-year run for the Eagles aerobatic flight team. The Eagles have thrilled audiences during more than 1,000 performances and have a combined total of more than 44,000 hours in the air.
Let's bring him out of the cockpit outside style. Ladies and gentlemen, of your 1995 Eagle aerobatic team. Barry Hill. Now from Team Susie, the mighty Eagles.
They began as the Red Devils, flying pit specials, and made the changeover to their trademark Kristen Eagles in 1979. During their long careers, the Eagles have flown as stunt pilots in movies and have appeared on numerous television programs. Among them, they hold 5 national and 2 world aerobatic championships. And together, they form the longest-running civilian flight team in history. Charlie, you're the leader. What are your thoughts on this last performance at Oshkosh?
Well, I had a little radio problem on the takeoff, but once we got that sorted out, I thought it was a good show. The air was a lot better than I expected, a lot smoother. I'm going to miss it. I think all 3 of us, have got to say that we're going to miss it. It's been a great run, though, and we're proud of that. So we'll be back next year. It'll just be doing something a little different.
What about this crowd, Gene?
Isn't this a fantastic crowd? I mean, it's just a fantastic event. Up there where we are, we can see how far back it goes. There's got to be 200,000 people here today. Great crowd, really responsive, too, and we really appreciate it.
Well, it's an EAA crowd, Tom, and you're the president, so it must make you feel proud.
Well, absolutely it does. And when you're out entertaining, when you're flying your show, you like to fly for an audience that appreciates it. And when it's your last show in an event like it was here, to see this kind of response, it really makes you feel good. We've had a lot of people come up and say, gee, we're going to miss you. We're sorry to see that you're not going to be flying as the Eagles. And, in a way that makes you feel good because that means you left an impact on them and that people really appreciated and enjoyed what you were doing.
Real men, real machines, a challenge made in Oshkosh. Ken High and the Shockwave jet truck. In this corner, Sean D. Tucker and the 1-800-COLLECT Challenger. Man against man, machine against machine. Why do I feel like I'm doing WWF? Ken, you've kicked some tough planes' butts along the way, but this one could be a little tougher.
Well, Sean's he's a good challenge. We have a lot of fun working together, and it's always a good close race, one way or the other, but in the meantime, we have a lot of fun.
Sure, go ahead, be a gentleman. Say something rotten about this guy, Sean.
All I want to say is this is an air show. This is about sky dancing. What the heck is a jet truck doing at Oshkosh? I don't want this guy here. Put him out there on the speedway where he belongs. So we're going to teach him a lesson today. I'm sorry, Kenny. You've had it.
All right, the challenge is down, Ken.
Jay, start turning those screws. No mercy today.
Each performer prepares for the race in his own unique way. For the Challenger, it's a little knife-edge flight to limber up its muscles. Then a flip to invert it to test the 350-plus horsepower engine. He'll need it all to go up against 25,000 horsepower. And then into position, and the race is on. Let's see that again. John starts out with an early lead, but Ken makes his move, and as he deploys his chute, it's a draw. Stay where you are. We'll return to exciting air show action in the second half of the program. Also on tap, the results of the great cross-country flying race and an interview with Space Shuttle Commander Hoot Gibson. We are just about an hour out of Oshkosh now in the King Cessna Citation. John's been talking with some of the competitors on the radio. Let's get an update. John, how's it going?
Well, it's really turning into a close horse race, John, in between a couple production stock airplanes. They're just about 75 miles behind us, and that's really amazing. We're just a little over halfway in the race, and they're almost keeping up with us. It's really remarkable. We've got a real horse race in between Charlie Wolcott and Howard Stoner, both in Mooney TLS airplanes. That stands for turbocharged Lycoming Sabres, and those are fast airplanes, and they're really smoking.
Have we heard from Don Getz, the defending champ?
Haven't heard a word from Don Getz. I don't know what's going on with Don. It's going to be interesting to see how far behind us he is.
He was the last one off, so we'll find out how it goes as we head into Oshkosh in the great cross-country flying race. Long before there was a great cross-country race, there were these guys, home builders who took their creations out to the racetrack and thrilled a nation. During the Depression-ridden 1930s, air races drew crowds that rivaled those at baseball games. Like any sport, the races had their own stars. The more flamboyant, the better. This is the plane that started it all. On the 10th and final day of the 1929 National Air Races, the impossible occurred. A civilian pilot named Doug Davis, flying a commercial plane dubbed the Mystery Ship, emerged triumphant over a field of military aircraft. That victory initiated a decade of velocity. Innovators sprang up in hangars, workshops, and garages across the country. Designer Jimmy Waddell had dropped out of school after the 9th grade and couldn't read a blueprint. Yet his Waddell Williams racers won the major races of the day. 3 consecutive Bendix cross-country races and 2 consecutive Thompson Trophy closed course races. 5 brothers named Granville created a line of stubby racers they named GBs. The airplanes dominated the 1931 National Air Races. One model won every race it was entered in. The GBs later gained an undeserved bad reputation as being unstable aircraft. Tell that to Delmar Benjamin, who flies a replica on the air show circuit. Americans weren't the only innovators. When a British candy manufacturer offered 50,000 pounds to the winner of a London to Melbourne race, designer Jeffrey de Havilland built 3 Comets. The one sponsored by the Grosvenor House Hotel placed first. This replica was built by race historian Bill Turner and made its first public appearance at last year's convention. Today, there is renewed interest in racing, closed course meets such as Reno, and cross-country events such as the Great Cross-Country Flying Race. Some of the other old-timers at the convention no longer move as fast as the air racers, but they get just as much attention from crowds. These are the antique classics, and they're proof that some things keep getting better with age.
We're really looking to reenact these original Douglas World Cruiser flight, which took place in 1924. There's a flight of 4 Douglas World Cruisers that set the first round-the-world record ever, and they were open cockpit, and no one has ever gone around the world open cockpit since that time. Also, no one has ever gone around the world open cockpit solo. I found this aircraft in Canada through a friend who saw it advertised there, and I was a little skeptical at the time, but I investigated it further and found out it was in fact the first Cessna 150 ever produced. So I brought it back to Portland, Oregon, and began a 5-year restoration of the aircraft. Completely dismantled the aircraft and rebuilt it component by component.
Welcome to an American town that exists only 1 week out of the year. Population? Well, it depends, but the main residents have been coming here every year for 25 years. This is the town of Sally's Oaken Alley, and if you want to know about a town, well, what you ought to do is talk to the mayor, who happens to be Sally Ryan.
Hi, John. It's nice to meet you.
You're celebrating 25 years here. Sally's Oaken Alley having to do with the oak trees. How'd it get started?
Well, it got started actually north of the north end of the field, out in the corn rows. We, in our little tiny tents, camp with a very small, tight-knit community. And a couple years later, we came in on runway 18, and Brian said, hey, EAA must have bought that farm. Let's go camp by the trees. We love it here, needless to say. Nice shade, even on a warm day like this.
Now, Brian, of course, would be this handsome fellow right over here to your right.
That's right. My sweetheart, we've been married 26 years, and this is our best vacation. We travel extensively, but coming to Oshkosh, meeting our friends, and bringing together our whole community is the highlight of our year. We wouldn't miss it.
It's the end of the road for the contestants in the great cross-country flying race. All the pilots made it safely, but a frequent complaint was the lack of tailwind. No help from the upper air currents. Here's Derek Capps, race number 8, first one to taxi up here at Oshkosh. How'd it go for you, Derek?
Very good, very good. Should have a good average. I didn't run it as hard as I want to do, but I did all right.
What were the conditions like?
Perfect. Weather was beautiful except the last 100 miles.
And then what?
I got under these clouds. I should have stayed on top.
So now, how'd the airplane run for you, Don?
Good, good. I had a leaky door seal, but other than that, I was working real good at 21,000. No tailwind, no wind at all. Isn't that discouraging?
Mike, before the race started, we were talking to the defending champion, Don Getz. I said, you got any competition? He said, well, there's another guy in the Lancer who's pretty good. That guy would be you. How did it go?
Went well. I mean, there's no winds, no help. It was strictly, you know, a no-wind condition. So ground speeds are anywhere 280, 290 knots in that. And I suspect the times will be down and around the 270s, you know, knot-wise.
We got Howard Stoner and Charlie Willicott, and these guys were going neck and neck much of the way from Denver to Oshkosh. Howard, how was it going out there?
Well, neck and neck. At 1.3, he was 3 miles behind at another 0.6, and I thought I had it made, and then he closed to right below me and made it impossible for me to descend. Thanks, Charlie. You're a real sport.
Charlie?
Well, it was an interesting race. Initially, I wanted to climb to flight level 250, 25,000 feet. But I couldn't do that because Howard was ahead of me and he was occupying that airspace. So I had to stay down low. It worked out pretty well. I caught Howard again and we landed within a minute or two of one another, I'm sure.
Well, there's one more presentation left, and this is to the grand champion of the 1995 Great Cross Country Air Race. Race number 38. Lancer 4P, very recently a pressurized Lancer 4. 2 hours 51 minutes and 6 seconds, 272 knots. Mike Seavall.
Winning times were slower than last year in the unlimited stock and Corinthian classes. Howard Stoner placed first in the stock category for a second year, beating Charlie Willicott by only 42 seconds. What about the Lancer?
It's a great airplane. It's a joy to fly. I've had a lot of fun. We've done some air shows and a few other things, and it's really a delight to fly. I mean, I'm very impressed with the aircraft. It's come a long way since my son dragged me over to Lance Air Tent in 1990 and said, Dad, you got to see this airplane. And I said, I don't want a kit plane. And you can see where I am now.
Don Getz later admitted his decision to climb to 21,000 feet, in search of that elusive tailwind, probably cost him the race. What do you like best?
The Warbirds.
What do you like about Warbirds? That seems to go down very big with a lot of people.
They're just an important part of history.
What's your favorite thing here this year?
The P-51 Mustang,
Why is that?
because it's so sleek and so fast.
Kids of all ages love warbirds, military aircraft produced during the Second World War, but there's only a limited number, and they get scarcer every year. Many were scrapped after the war, so if you really want one, you've got to work for it. In recent years, warbirds have been freed from ice packs and pulled from the bottom of lakes. You'd hardly know this Grumman Wildcat spent 48 years under 220 feet of Lake Michigan water. The pilot experienced propeller governor failure during takeoff from the aircraft carrier USS Sable in 1943. The airplane had only 50 hours on it when it plunged into the water. It was one of two recovered in 1991, and restoration began the following year. The paint job was completed less than a week before the convention.
It's real eerie walking into the warehouse where the airplanes were. The two fuselages sitting there with the wings up against the wall, and I knew that they were fixed wing Wildcats, and they were very rare. And they were both preserved so well. And the insides, the radio bay, and the stenciling, and the paint, and there was little water running out of them. It was kind of eerie.
This year's main theme is Tribute to Valor. It's a celebration that concludes 6 years of World War II commemorations, beginning with the 50th anniversary of the Battle of Britain in 1990.
Hal, I understand that you still actively fly B-17s, the EAAs particularly. How does it compare now to 50 years ago?
Well, it's a lot more fun with nobody shooting at you, I'll tell you that right now. I flew the airplane yesterday morning, and I'll probably be flying the airplane this afternoon in the formation with, we'll probably be leading the formation. I think we have a formation of 4 B-17s. I enjoyed flying the airplane then. I enjoy flying the airplane now. I feel very fortunate because as it stands right now, I'm the last combat pilot still current in the airplane left in the world, and that's something that is just between God and me, I guess.
This year's Warbird Spectacular features the largest collection of Allied air power since the final days of the war. Pages of flight plans and hours of briefings go into bringing it all together. And the special guests of the day are the veterans, the men and women who participated in the air war, on the ground and in the cockpits.
This is history that we should not lose, and as long as a lot of these men and women from World War II are here and able to talk about these experiences, Oshkosh EAA is making it possible to talk with these people, to do these tapes so that this history is not lost, because it should be maintained, and in time, you know, it won't be too long before most of these people are not going to be here.
I was flying P-47 Thunderbolts out of England prior to D-Day on escort missions of the heavy bomb streams. And we flew for about 3 or 4 months prior to D-Day. After D-Day, I was involved more in supporting the ground in the fighter bomber work. I flew 145 missions, fighter bomber missions. And on the last one, I was strafing an aerodrome, got shot up by anti-aircraft, but it was able to climb away and bail out, and immediately was captured. Our assignment as a prisoner is to try to harass the enemy and escape if you can. And besides that, as a fighter pilot, you just can't stay behind the fence anyway.
Once again, it's air show time. Dozens of acts are showcased during the week. And all these performers, as well as many corporate sponsors, donate their time and resources to be a part of this event. French Connection is the leadoff act. Montaigne Mallet and Danielle Eligouin have been teammates for 17 years. Danielle is a former French Unlimited champion, and Montaigne holds a degree in engineering. They also operate a year-round aerobatics flight school based in Florida. They're less than a year old, but already making a name for themselves. The Northern Lights, formed by a group of Canadian Air Force pilots, past members of the fabled Snowbird team. The Lights developed as a unique cross between military and civilian teams and are one of the few formation acts to fly monoplanes instead of traditional biplanes. Whom do you admire in aviation?
Oh, I think everybody that's out there and doing a good job and is promoting safety and precision flying. And most of the competitors that compete with me in competition and every airshow performers that's out there support us.
Is Montaigne special to you?
Oh yeah, very special, because if it wouldn't be for Montaigne, I probably wouldn't be here today.
And you're just 26 years old. How much longer do you envision yourself doing this sort of thing?
Oh, at least another 80 years.
Jim Franklin and Lee Ullman are one of the most exciting wing walking teams on the circuit. Jim also flies a solo routine in the Waco Mystery Ship. Lee starts on top of the airplane. Moves in among the wing struts. And ends up underneath the airplane. Because airports are built on flat ground, Dan Buchanan launches his glider at 35 miles an hour from a platform towed by a pickup. Dan has been hang gliding 15 years and gave up his private pilot training to concentrate on the sport. He also enjoys sailplanes, kayaking, and scuba diving. In fact, he got his first taste of hang gliding on a scuba trip. For many people, ultralights represent the ultimate freedom. It's flying on a natural level with the barest amount of machine separating pilot from sky. This year saw the 100th manned mission of the U.S. space program, plus renewed interest in the moonshots with the release of a major motion picture about Apollo 13. Representatives from both missions were on hand at the convention. Gene Kranz was the flight director during the Gemini and Apollo programs. He was in charge in Houston during the first moon landing and when Mission Control struggled to bring the damaged Apollo 13 capsule back to Earth. Would that be the toughest thing you've ever been through?
It was probably I'd say the longest period of tough, hard-nosed decisions where you got to not only trust everybody to work to, you're making a lot of bets in the come line there. From my standpoint, most of the controllers was never in doubt. We were going to get that crew back.
And we learned an awful lot from it, too, didn't we, to proceed in the space program?
I think that we learned confidence in ourselves. We learned to believe in ourselves and our team. We also brought forward the risks of space, and we were really capable of articulating why we think these risks are worthwhile.
A less harrowing and more recent mission was the first historic docking of the U.S. space shuttle with the Russian Mir space station. Shuttle Commander Robert Hoot Gibson and 3 of his crew members arrived at the convention in T-38s. We thought we'd get off the flight line for this one. What could be more quintessentially Oshkosh than sitting in a green machine with Hoot Gibson, a man who loves to fly? Let's start by talking about that, Hoot, your love of flying.
Well, it's something that I've had all my life, and I grew up with flying. Both Mom and Dad were pilots, and in fact, that's how they met back in the 1940s. And so I've always been around aircraft. I've always been fascinated by them. I've been flying Piper Cubs since I was 5 and 6 years old, and as I moved along and got older, I got to get into bigger and faster airplanes, but the fascination has always been there.
The most recent bit of fame for you, and there has been much, deservedly so, has been the Mir mission. What was the best moment of that for you, Hoot?
I guess it would have to be the actual physical docking itself. It's one of those challenges of a lifetime, actually getting to fly that kind of a maneuver and actually getting to fly 2 great big vehicles together the way that we had to do. In many ways, it was like formation flying. And so it was a real piloting challenge. It was a real demanding sort of task. And that was the moment I think that felt the best, was managing to pull that off.
Just like that, another week-long EAA Oshkosh Fly-In Convention is over, and it's time to go. And since I get to choose each year how I leave, and it's been such a big year for aerobatics, especially with the Eagles' farewell performances, I thought I'd leave in a top aerobatic airplane, the Sukhoi.